My name's Ethan. I'm 38, and until recently I thought I had the kind of marriage people envied. We met in college, two kids with half a plan and full hearts. 12 years later, we had a house, careers, and what I thought was a bond built on loyalty. Turns out it was just routine wearing a wedding band. It started small. Megan, my wife, began going out with her new coworkers after work. Networking nights, she called them. I didn't mind. I trusted her. But the photos she'd post told a different story. Her laughing, holding cocktails, and never wearing her ring. I asked once casually, "You forget your ring again?" She shrugged. "It doesn't match my outfit, Ethan. Relax, it's just jewelry." Just jewelry. Funny how something that once symbolized forever had turned into a fashion accessory. Last Friday was her friend Chloe's birthday. She came out of the bedroom in a black dress she hadn't worn since our honeymoon trip to Miami. Hair done, perfume thick in the air. When I reached for her hand, the ring finger was bare. "Where's your ring?" I asked. She smirked. "Not wearing it tonight. I'm going out single." I laughed at first, waiting for the punchline, but she didn't laugh back. Her exact words were, "Relax, it's a joke. You're so sensitive." Then she walked out, heels echoing down the hall, leaving silence that felt heavier than any argument. That night, I sat on the couch scrolling through old pictures of us. Vacations, anniversaries, little moments that once meant something. I realized I couldn't remember the last time she'd looked at me the way she looked at her phone. Around midnight, I texted her, "Drive safe. Love you." No reply. She came home at 2 a.m., smelling like expensive whiskey and someone else's cologne. "Had fun?" I asked. "Don't start, Ethan. It was just a night out." "You're suffocating me." I didn't argue. Arguing felt pointless when one person had already checked out. The next morning, she was all sunshine, coffee brewing, humming like nothing happened. She looked at me and said, "You're in a mood." Don't be dramatic. That word, dramatic, cut deep. When did honesty become drama? I went to work, but my head stayed at home. Something inside me shifted. I wasn't angry, just done pretending. When I came back that evening, she was getting ready again. "Chloe's boyfriend is throwing a follow-up dinner," she said. "Don't wait up. This time I didn't stop her. I just watched. No ring, same perfume, same smile that wasn't meant for me." After she left, I walked to the bedroom. The bed looked untouched on her side. I opened her drawer, empty spaces where her jewelry box and keepsakes used to be. Maybe she moved them. Maybe she didn't plan on coming back. My stomach turned, but my mind was clear for the first time in months. I opened my laptop, logged into our joint account, and separated my salary into a new one I'd opened that morning. Then I called the bank, froze the joint card, and changed the security codes on the house. I wasn't being spiteful, I was preparing for peace. At 11 p.m., my phone buzzed, a message from Chloe's boyfriend, Tyler. "Hey man, sorry to text you this, but Megan wasn't at dinner. She told Chloe she had other plans." "You okay?" I stared at the message for a long minute. Then I typed, "I am now." That night I slept better than I had in years. When morning came, I cooked breakfast for myself, opened the windows, and finally felt air that didn't taste stale. Then her car pulled up. I heard the front door click open and her heels tapping through the hallway like they still owned the place. She walked in holding her shoes, mascara smudged, voice casual. "Rough night," she sighed. "You could have texted to see if I was alive." I looked up from my plate and said calmly, "You took off your ring, remember? Said you were single. I was just respecting your decision." She blinked, confused. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled a little. "It means today you really are single." She froze mid-step, shoes still dangling from her fingers. "Ethan, what are you talking about?" I leaned back in my chair. "I mean, everything's arranged. The accounts, the house. You said you were single, so I treated you like one." Her face shifted from confusion to disbelief. "You can't be serious." "I'm tired of being the punchline, Megan. You wanted space, I gave it to you." She set her shoes down slowly. "Ethan, come on." It was a joke. "You're really going to end our marriage over a stupid joke?" I looked at her hand, still bare. "Then why are you still not wearing it?" She glanced down, realizing she hadn't put the ring back on. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The silence between us was louder than any fight we'd ever had. I stood up, walked to the window, and said quietly, "I spent years trying to make you feel loved. You spent months pretending you already were." She finally spoke. "You're being cruel." "No," I said. "I'm being clear." For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. She just stared at me, searching for the version of me she could manipulate with guilt or pity. But that man was gone. I picked up an envelope from the counter and placed it in front of her. Inside were the signed separation papers, something I'd downloaded weeks ago but never thought I'd use. "I filled out my part," I said. "You can decide what happens next." Her eyes watered. Not the way they do when someone's heart breaks, but the way they do when control slips through their fingers. "You're making a mistake." "Maybe," I said. "But at least it's mine to make." She sat down at the table, rubbing her temples. "So that's it? 12 years and you just give up?" I shook my head. "I didn't give up, Megan. I held on long after the rope burned my hands." She didn't answer. Just sat there in the house we built together, realizing for the first time that love isn't a constant. It's a choice. And she'd stopped choosing long before I did. After she left that morning, I went for a drive. No destination, no plan. Just the open road and a quiet that didn't feel lonely anymore. I passed the park where we used to sit on Sundays, talking about futures we never built. Funny how the same places can hold two completely different meanings, one for what was and one for what will never be. That evening, I got a text from her. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I typed back, "There's nothing left to talk about." You made sure of that. And then I turned off my phone. The days that followed were strange, peaceful but heavy. I'd expected heartbreak, anger, regret. Instead, I felt something else entirely, clarity. I realized I'd been trying to save a version of her that didn't exist anymore. The woman I fell in love with wouldn't have treated me like a backup plan. One afternoon, as I was packing up the guest room, my new temporary space, I found her wedding ring on the dresser. She must have forgotten it. It caught the sunlight just right, shining like it still meant something. I held it for a moment, then set it inside a small glass jar and labeled it, "What I Used to Believe in." A few weeks later, I heard through mutual friends that she'd moved in with someone from her office, the same guy she'd called just a friend. It stung for about 5 seconds. Then I realized that the truth doesn't hurt when you've already healed from the lie. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell anyone she'd cheated. I didn't need revenge. The real victory was peace and silence. Months passed. My house was quieter, cleaner, and somehow warmer. I started running again, cooking for one, rediscovering things that used to make me happy before I spent all my energy trying to make someone else happy. One night, I got a message request on social media from her. Just a single line, "Do you ever think about me?" I thought for a moment, then closed the message without replying. Some things don't deserve answers. They deserve endings. As I turned off the lights and looked at the empty space where her things used to be, I realized something powerful. Love doesn't die when someone leaves. It dies when they stop showing up. And once it's gone, pretending won't bring it back. So no, I didn't end our marriage out of anger. I ended it out of self-respect. Because the moment she said, "Today I'm single," I decided to make sure she'd never have to lie about that again.